I'll send you some screenshots after the show, Will. You'll like it.
Cool. All right, moving on to our next topic. We have all of the wonderful changes to the suggested rules format as soon as I find them, because I forgot to prepare this ahead of time.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay, you know what? We don't need it because we already know what it is.
Yeah, we know what it does. Makes me
so the new rules for the suggested tournament format. The changes are as follows. Number 1, your ships are limited to 50 points, regardless of whatever the heck they are.
Rage!
You must have a minimum of a 3-ship fleet. You can't even forego your second ship that you don't want for 40 points, because you have to have one.
Rage!
And any ship
your blind booster does count toward this.
It does. And so do resources that attach to ships also count towards their point value. So flagships, fleet captains, crew officers. Yeah. Let's see. Last but not least, any ship that is over 42 points to start with can have a total of 8 points worth of upgrades in captains and/or other upgrades. Even if it would put them over 50.
Let me clarify something. Did you say that the attaching fleet captain or flagship adds or goes against that 50 points?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, that's ridiculous. The resource should be a separate value.
Yep. Because the hell with fun.
Only the resources that actually attach to a ship or crew or captain, so that it's a physical location on the board. If it's like the reinforcement sideboard, it doesn't count because it's not on a ship.
Which, by the way, just became the best resources in the game. FYI.
And I don't even have it.
Is it in the box? You have a box of stuff to give away, don't you?
Yeah, check there. You gave me a set of command tokens and a frisbee.
I didn't do that. Jim's got them all.
Oh.
Dan, shoot Will a message or shoot me a message. I've got an extra. I can send you one.
Okay.
Because you'll want one.
Want one.
That agitates me. Now I'm even more agitated.
Uh-oh. I've done terrible things. So, I guess we can all see how we all feel about this rules update then.
Well, yeah, because if you take a 30 point like the Voyager or 32 point, and then put flagship on it, you basically just burned all your points with that and the captain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's horse crap.
The tactical cubes. The name tactical cubes ability is nigh on useless. Because if you take that 7-point Borg Blade of Hull Armor, that's the only upgrade you get.
Yep.
My head hurts.
You could take a 1 point. You could take another 1 point upgrade.
Nope. Oh yeah, yes, you're right.
You could take the 1 point, the 1 point Borg captain.
Hansen.
Right.
No, it's 8 points of upgrades. Captains aren't upgrades.
They say later on or captains.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
That's slightly less stupid than I thought. Still pretty friggin' stupid. Can you believe there are people that are happy about this?
But,
well, because it crimps or it gimps Borg, so you don't have.
No, it doesn't. Listen, the list I ran at Colorado. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say this. I have a quick correction to my report last week. My first round opponent's name was not Will B. It was Brad K. Brad, I'm really sorry I got it wrong. Anyway, my list at Colorado was, which I also think I called Chicago a million times. Anyway, it was Borg Sphere 4270, Tactical Drone rerolls, and then generic Borg Sphere, Tactical Drone from the Sphere, and Borg Missile. None of that is prohibited under this.
Yeah.
Right, each of those ships is 48, 49 points.
One is 47, the other is 43.
There you go.
We'll be seeing we'll be seeing a lot of Picard Ducat spheres make a return.
Yeah, spheres are going to go through the roof, which
Mhm.
means now that it's hard to find a sphere, there's going to be some very happy campers and very
Well,
upset campers.
spheres and diamonds. I
It's a
mean,
little
you can't
tougher
do
with.
diamonds quite as well as spheres, but
hmm
Mhm.
I do like diamond
Well,
better, but that 2-point makes a huge difference now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but as somebody who was running 4270, do you want to know how many times I used that split your attack option? Never. So I just run a generic diamond instead, honestly, just for variety's sake.
That,
And to make it a little easier so I don't have to constantly tell my opponent, nope, this is the one with Borg Missile. This is the one with Borg Missile.
So, just to consolidate our thoughts, what were we trying to do when what was this rule set trying to do? And the rule set basically to just gimp single ship dreadnought builds, yes?
Yeah. I mean,
Basically,
every single regionals has been a single ship dreadnought build. It's also, by the way, it's possible but really hard to do a triple attack canceling build under these rules. Is it possible? Yes, but you're stuck on a ship like, I mean, I think I did it on the Scout Cube with a lot of work. Or maybe it might have been a Nebula class or something. It was something weird. And it's like, you know, okay, well, you got your attack canceling 360, but you're on a much smaller ship.
But so here's what it does. If you can't have one ship of 90 points, you're no longer going to have the go to time win with 30 fleet points, which absolutely everyone that I saw at the regional had at least one of. Which is you kill the blind ship and then you guys go to time and you win because you were the only one who killed the blind ship.
That's true. Blind ships matter more now.
Because with everyone at 90 points worth of ship, that ship there was no middle ground. Either that ship died or it didn't die, which meant it was 0 or 90. There was no in between, which kind of defeated the entire purpose of the go to time tiebreakers.
Right. And it also, I mean, the big deal about the collective and the resistance is feudal is the blind ships. It's supposed to be a major game mechanic. No, it hardly ever mattered what blind you got, you know?
Just as long as it either lived or died. Which, it was a great pain when I pulled the Vulcan booster instead of like the Prakesh or something, but it still ended up doing its job decently enough.
I mean, its job is to survive, and the Talkir is all right at that. I still think you should have run Cobb, though, but whatever.
Sorry, no fat Vulcans for me. But, yeah, so the new changes to the rules specify, 2 ships. So if you take out at least part of your opponent's build, then that kind of starts finally getting around that, either the win with 30 points kind of syndrome.
I don't know about that. Look, I think we're gonna, with the exception of, I don't think we're gonna see any ships. We can't. I mean, we can't see any ships under, unless somebody's running like a swarm, and I don't know why they do that, even in this meta. You're never really gonna see a ship under 40 points. You know?
Yeah. I can see ships under 40 points, but the question is how competitive is it going to be?
The only way to get ships under 40 points is if you have 2 other ships. So, because you can't have, I mean, or you're running below, the maximum, and that's stupid.
So here's part 2 of the consolidation of what's going on here is what does this do for just the metagame? Like, was this intended to change up the metagame? Which
yes,
was,
and it's
of
not,
course,
it's not going to work.
Which was, of course, to get rid of the giant builds. But the problem is there's a lot of builds that it does nothing about.
Absolutely. My favorite one right now, by the way, is actually Janeway Prize, which got a huge boost out of enhanced hull plating. Like, I put together one that's legal under these rules, and I think it does triple scan, triple evade, plus enhanced hull plating.
Oh.
and battle stations from Spock. Like yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me
extra
reconstruct
scan
that.
tokens. Was this with flagship or with the crewmen? Because I've been looking for good excuses for the crewmen.
Officers.
Officers
Yeah,
are nice.
basically, if you can, the trick is to put high energy sensor sweep on the ship,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the point when you can get triple scan and triple evade. At which point I'd rather have it than flagship, especially since it now costs, against the 50 point. This game is stupid.
So, if this was going to shake up the metagame, well, we got rid of the giant Voyager and the giant single cube list, but it did nothing to hurt the lists that, almost nothing to hurt the list that won 2 of the regionals, which were my lists. I went ahead and revised my old list here. And we've got, it's really not a huge change from what I ran in Illinois. In Illinois, I was running Wayun, Fleet Captain, Croesus, Govali, Nahus. And on the other ship, I had the Apnex with Martok and, basically Varel and a couple other, bells and whistles. The only difference here is that now Martok is the Fleet Captain. He has all of the crew, but I'm still stealing everything from his ship. The only difference in gameplay now is that it takes me 2 turns to be where I was at, to be comfortable and safe, whereas before it would have taken 1. 2 turns in a game is not a huge deal, especially if there's a planet in the middle and you're Borg and you're not rushing to engage and joust right away. I can still negate attacks from turn 1. And now there is no single ship builds to any giant single ship builds to counter me like the Lorsch build that I'm going to go over later. I am not hurt. This is a double attack canceling build every single turn.
Yeah. I put together a triple canceling one that works under some of the same principles, but it's a lot more complicated.
Mm-hmm. I like simple. I could have probably gone for like a sideboard or something, but really all I've got here is a sphere with Wayun and Croesus, and then I've got the Apnex, Martok's Fleet Captain, and then all of the little cool little tech things just to mess with your opponent who is, if they're insistent on trying to Croesus you first.
Mm-hmm.
Got my Cloaked Minds, got my Varel, got my Aaron Hansen.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I remember now. I ended up you can fit triple attack canceling on the Teeny prize if you use Chris Pike to fit all the crew, and Borg Alliance for dispersion field cost because the hell with you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So now what? I mean, if this is still gonna this has come out on top in 2 different regionals. I can't see it not coming out on top even now with the rules changes that make it even easier to I don't know, I think it's easier for it to keep doing what it does.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, at this point, a lot of the really good counters to Wayun Barrel are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So have fun with that.
I will say, though, that this is still based under the regionals restrictions. It does not have anything from Wave 7 beyond. But I wasn't even thinking about that too much. If I could do Wave 7 and beyond, I can drop it down to a generic sphere and put dispersion field on there. So then no one can mess with me, pretty much. We could try a diamond if we wanted to. We love diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, right?
Nah.
It's just, I don't know. Dan, what would you do with your 2 ships? Your now 2-ship build for 90 points.
Well, remember, I mean, and eventually 3 ships.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we're done with blind buy after this. I'm pretty sick of blind buys.
Yeah, if we get out of the blinds, there's some hope in terms of some new strategies coming out, but I still don't see why what Will's talking about isn't the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree.
I mean, I can see some sideboard stuff working, but I think the sideboard ends up doing very similar things.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the build I got, all right? It sounds innocuous when you lay it out until I get to the sideboard. You have a Scout 255 with Croesus and Hivemind, because why not? I think there was something else I was trying to do with that. I don't remember why it is Hivemind now. Whatever. Anyway. Oh, all right. I put Hivemind on it to make it exactly 90 points. You can pitch it to Scout 255 to move forward fast if you want and Croesus them on the first turn. Anyway. Then the main ship is the USS Enterprise with Chris Pike, Borg Alliance, Lee Nollis, Koss, William T. Riker, Beverly Crusher, T'Pol, who gets you the Doctor, and Dispersion Field for 50 points. Okay. What's the point of that? Well, the sideboard is Weyoun, Varel, and Dorsal Phaser Array. You switch out T'Pol for Varel, because T'Pol does nothing once the game starts. You switch out Chris Pike for Weyoun, because Chris Pike does nothing once the game starts. It doesn't matter if you don't have the Elite Town anymore, because Borg Alliance is... it's only there for the slot. Dorsal Phaser Array goes straight on the ship, because you're not using your weapon slot. Bam! Have fun.
Can you dorsal phase? Oh yeah, it's got a hull of 4.
Yep. Well, it doesn't matter because resource. I don't think the resource sideboard actually deploys the thing to your ship, does it?
Hmm.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, but the restriction would still apply anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you've got your attack cancellations. You've got you've got a decent weapon strength, and you've got the completely immune dispersion field cost combo.
Yeah.
You had cost on there, right?
Yeah, I have cost. Cost dispersion field, 3 attack cancellations.
Disabling, re-enabling shenanigans.
Yep. Worst comes to worst, if I do get Aux tokened, the Enterprise can still perform action bar actions. Can evade its way out of there and such, you know.
And Phlox doesn't care about those.
Phlox is not on the ship.
Oh, you're not using Phlox?
I'm using the Doctor, yeah.
Gotcha.
Because the tech slot is easier to get than an extra crew slot here.
Fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah, plus Riker the Doctor is a little bit more clean.
This is the
with some
3
of the
attack
Phlox combos.
cancellations per turn?
Yeah. And I mean, you know, you're only 360ing at range 2 with 3 attack dice, but, you know, that's 4 at range 1, and what more do you really need?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'd point out is that it's a little bit more vulnerable to mines than the equivalent Borg build would be. Just because the Enterprise has, you know, it doesn't have a Borg dial, but, I mean, this is exactly, the point is, this is what they were trying to get rid of, and they failed.
Still around, you can still do it. No big deal at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Come on, guys. Come on. Guys, listen up. We need some changes here. This was not it.
That's correct. This was definitely not it.
I appreciate what you guys are trying to do. I remember the Admiral's orders, though.
Boy, that was fun. You think those could make a comeback? Wouldn't that be great?
I think that's why they did this, because they couldn't think of any better Admiral's orders.
Yeah. It brings up a question. Who did we should talk to come up with this? Well,
Sorry, say again?
Who did WizKids talk to come up with this? Because it seems like this is a response to problems that we observed with regionals. But it's not. It doesn't fix it.
They did say that they had inquired of some of their players, and they were listening to some of their players, and that is interesting since I saw no one from WizKids at Chicago and no one from WizKids at North Carolina. There were some people that, you know, Justin was at Colorado, but I didn't really see him talking to anyone. Not in that sense, you know what I mean? But even so, I haven't heard about anything similar even in Texas or in where was the other one? Oregon. I didn't hear anything about WizKids
Portland.
representatives at either of those.
Even if they were listening to the wrong people.
Yeah, tell me about it. Can you believe there are people that are happy about these rules? They're only going to be happy until they playtest them.
It's hilarious because people still think that this is going to solve all the problems. It's going to reopen creativity and make old ships playable again.
No, look, I took a list and got 3rd place. Another guy got 4th place at Colorado. Somebody else damn near won San Diego with it, and it's still legal, and it's still Borg. It's like, why are you ruining everybody else's game just to... This is such a bad idea.
Yeah. So it's unanimous. We all hate this. It's dumb.
It's dumb.
Dumb.
I'm not even sure I can say I hate it because it doesn't really affect me that much.
Yeah, I probably hate it the least out of everyone because I'm in a faction pure environment, but yeah, it didn't fix what it was intending to fix.
Certainly not.
So it didn't accomplish its goal, and for that reason, it is pointless.
I've played Faction Pure where the place I play, and if they said, you know, your resources count as separate, like I said, you get 50 points, and if you want to put the flagship or something like that, or a resource on there in addition, it doesn't count against the 50 points, I probably wouldn't dislike it so much. Just for the fact that even though the flagship gives you, in most cases, you're going to set it up so it gives you a free evade or free battle station or something like that, you're still risking some kind of crew now to put that part on there, which basically makes... Well, basically, what it boils down to is if you assign a flagship or even a fleet captain, you're going to have a captain, a ship, and maybe a weapon, and that's it.
Uh-huh.
And your points are done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's crap.
I was talking before we started, and I said 55 or 60 would have been far better. Because that gives you a little bit more flexibility. And all of this is really fun timing because it's another screw you to the Romulans because now the Scimitar is going to have issues.
Yeah.
Aw. Poor Romulans.
I feast on the tears of Romulan players.
I don't even want to think how much the Scimitar is going to be. It's probably going to be a 40-point ship if I was putting any guess.
It's going to be 42 points.
Have you seen a preview of it?
Nope, because that is the exact number it takes not to get that 8-point upgrade space. That's what it's going to be.
We're just considering how badly that it's just going to coincidentally work out.
Yeah, it's going to be 42 points with 3 attack.
So maybe this is a band-aid for their screw-up in a ship that's already being printed.
Really, Tucker? 3 attack?
Name me a Romulan ship that has more than 4 attack and isn't... name me a Romulan ship that has 4 attack and isn't dual faction besides the Baldor.
Well, on that note, I think we can start closing this one out. I've had something important and meaningful to say. Oh, remember, guys, this is suggested tournament format. At my venue, we are already using a custom format, so this does not need to apply to us, and it will not. If you are already doing a custom format to try to address the issues that this is trying to address, like whether it be, I don't know, faction pure or certain restriction cards or things like that, you probably don't even need to bother with this.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. By the way, that reminds me. I saw a really neat idea on Board Game Geek from a guy who plays Game of Thrones. And tell me what you guys... Do we have time to talk about this?
Sure, why not?
All right. Tell me what you guys think about this. Here's what he said. He said, I've never played Game of Thrones. I know nothing about Game of Thrones other than the fact that it's an LCG. But apparently, what they do something interesting. They say, all right, here's a list of cards. Of these cards, you can only have one of them in your deck. I like it. You know why? Because imagine if that list is, for Attack Wing, it's the Borg ships, that are the problem: the sphere, the cube, and the diamond. Wayun, Sopak, or not Wayun, Wayun, Sopak, Barrel, Seska,
Conditional surrender.
conditional surrender, and maybe cloaked mines. Now you can play with all those cards, but you can't play with them together.
I like it.
A limited restricted list.
Right. In other words, you can play with everything you own, maybe just not at the same time.
It's interesting you should mention that because they are actually doing the exact same thing in D&D Attack Wing.
Are they really now?
They have a card type called Campaign Artifact. You may only have one artifact in your squad.
Oh.
We can't get these guys to print the right stuff on the cards we already have. Could you imagine adding another element for them to try to get right?
No, but this goes back to something that I kind of feared from the beginning, which was WizKids and Andrew Parks used Star Trek Attack Wing to get D&D Attack Wing right.
Yeah.
Not saying that Attack Wing has all kinds of issues and it's broken and it's messed up, but they learned lessons.
All kinds of issues and it's broken and it's messed up. There, I said it.
Oh, okay. They learned lessons and they're applying it to the next game.
Which makes me mad that they used my game as a trial and error play testing giant mechanic.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to see me flying dragons around.
No. But, I think a restricted list could have a place and it could be relatively easily implemented. Because I think a lot of us can agree on what should be on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's not rocket science. Look, what I listed off, if I was a TO, out here, that would be my they call it a limited list in Game of Thrones, and that what it would be. It would be, of those, I think, 9 cards I mentioned, pick one. That's the one you're using for your fleet. Game on,
But you don't even have to use any.
Right, exactly. And run double spheres if you want, and you'll be able to run the list I ran at Colorado, sure. But if you're not seeing Wayun, if you're only seeing Wayun or Varel in Fair Lights, but you can still have a Voyager Dreadnought build, I mean that's fine,
Yeah. The thing is, we all agree what should be on the list. The thing we don't agree on is how that list should be implemented, because there are still people who think that making Borg faction pure will fix them.
I think Tucker's list proves otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's faction pure, no resources, and hell, if you run a diamond instead of 4270, you don't even have a unique on there.
Nice. But yeah. Anything else for our custom rule set, changing rules segment?
Yeah. Here's a fun one. Since I mentioned this earlier and I didn't get around to mentioning it. Here's what. Here's a fun thing to do. You ready?
Uh-oh.
USS Enterprise. Teeny Prize, captained by Catherine Janeway, featuring First Officer T'Pol, Science Officer Spock, High Energy Sensor Sweep, and Enhanced Hull Plating, comes out to exactly 50 points. Triple Evade, Triple Scan, every single turn, plus Enhanced Hull Plating if your shields are down, and
you can spend scans for more evades.
Yep, and you can spend the scans for more evades. Vulnerable to disruption, but you can't have everything in life.
Oh, darn.
But I want everything.
Like hair? Like me?
Hey, I'm working on it, man. It's getting better. Shh.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. The Borg are all bald too.
Now that since we have, I feel this is enough for our rant against the new system and how we like that you're trying WizKids, but it seems like that you're not really trying that hard.
You ever had a puppy that like you toss a ball for it and it brings back like a dead animal of some sort, and as it brings back to it, it like trips and drops it and nearly breaks its neck, and then it looks at you expecting affection? That's sort of how I feel right now.
Wow.
Beautiful
Wow.
analogy. Let's move back to the strategy aspect of the show, so at least we get some of that in here tonight.
Hey, I presented a build.
Yeah, that's true.